Hi, welcome back to Faith Series. Today we are going to learn from the life of Elijah. Elijah was famous for his prayer. Also the way he was taken up by God without experiencing death. So we are going to look into a couple of incidents what happened in his life and try to learn from it. We'll read 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 17 to 23. It says, "Sometime later the son of the woman who owned the house became ill. He grew worse and worse and finally stopped breathing. She said to Elijah, 'What do you have against me, man of God? Did you come to remind me of my sin and kill my son?' 'Give me your son,' Elijah replied. He took him from her arms, carried him to the upper room where he was staying, and he laid him on his bed. Then he cried out to the Lord, 'Lord my God, have you brought tragedy even on this widow I am staying with, by causing a son to die?' Then he stretched himself out on the boy 3 times and cried out to the Lord, 'Lord my God, let this boy's life return to him.' The Lord heard Elijah's cry, and boy's life returned to him, and he lived. Elijah picked up the child and carried him down from the room into the house. He gave him to his mother and said, 'Look, your son is alive.'" I'll give a little background to what was happening here. Elijah was staying in the upper room where the widow and her son lived. One day, the son fell ill and he died. And here we see Elijah really feeling for this family. He cried out to the Lord and prayed with a lot of faith, and God listened to his prayer. During Elijah's time, King Ahab was ruling Israel. He turned away from the Lord and started worshipping Baals. He also had a foreign wife. Her name was Jezebel. She killed many of Lord's prophets. In short, we see during Elijah's time, the leadership of Israel was corrupt. We'll see one of the interaction between King Ahab and Elijah. Let us turn our Bibles to 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 16 to 19. "So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When he saw Elijah, he said to him, 'Is that you, you troubler of Israel?' 'I have not made trouble for Israel,' Elijah replied. 'But you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now, summon the people from all over Israel to meet me at Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table.'" Here we see in this conversation between Elijah and Ahab, Elijah was challenging Ahab for his wrongdoings because he had turned away from the Lord. Even though Ahab was the king, Elijah didn't hesitate to confront him. He was bold enough to talk to the king about his sin. From both these passages, we can learn a couple of things about Elijah. In the first passage, we see Elijah was very caring for the family, and he loved them and he really felt for them. He prayed with a lot of faith, and because of his faith, God answered his prayer. And he gave the child his life back. Also, when he confronted Ahab, he was bold enough. He didn't hesitate because he was the king. Today, how about us? Do we pray with a lot of faith? Do we really feel for people? When we see somebody in sin, do we confront that person, or are we intimidated by that person? Let us learn these things from Elijah. Next week, we will be learning from the life of another great prophet, Daniel. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.